All right, everybody. So this is the final part of the seventh lecture. Okay, we will look inside in your country. So we are looking at the biodiversity of our country, Malaysia. So, what is biodiversity? What is Malaysia biodiversity? And we learn about extinction, causal extinction, and also how to prevent extinction. So the first question is, what is biodiversity? So biodiversity, the term is quite new, coined only in late in 1980s. So it is an abbreviation of biological diversity. So it combines these concepts into one term. So you have plants and animals, they are genetic resources, diversity of species and habitats in where they live. So right now the present use of this term would be biodiversity, totality and variety of living organisms on Earth. So Malaysia is the 65 country to ratify the Convention of Biological Diversity in 1994. So here are the biodiversity hotspots according to Myers in 2000. So we are actually part of the biodiversity hotspots in the world, along with Madagascar, along with Western Ghats in Sri Lanka, Caucasus, the Brazil's Amazon, tropical Andes, okay, Mesoamerica, Polynesia, Southeast Australia also. Okay, we are one of the most biodiverse countries in the world. So diversity itself can be either genetic, species, or ecosystem diversity. The diversity will be the variation of genes within and between population of species. Species variety is about the variety of living organism species. Ecosystem diversity is the variety of habitats, living organisms, and ecological processes in a particular area. Okay. So Malaysia biodiversity is is immense. We have only 0.2% of world's land mass, but in terms of richness, we are second in the world only to Indonesia and in Southeast Asia. So Malaysia is one of the 12 mega diversity countries in the world, according to the 2001 Global Survey Outlook. Okay. But the number of species in Malaysia is uncertain. So the final number is not known yet because we still haven't found all of the species. Okay. Best estimate is that we have more than 170,000 species in Malaysia, and there are many species that has not been studied or discovered. Okay. So factors contributing to Malaysia biodiversity. Okay, it is tropical climate is one, because tropical climate is warm, it's wet, it's moist, favorable and stable condition for growth for evolution of plants and animals. And habitats also diverse. We have seas, rivers, forests, and mountains. Age of forests. Okay, we are in an area where the forests are so old. Okay, the Great Age of Forests existed continuously for over 130 million years. According, if you look, wanna compare with human species, Homo sapiens only have existed for like 20 million, 20, no, not 20, it's 200,000 years. Okay, so it is dwarfed by the age of forests. Okay, so if you look at the known flora and fauna species diversity, okay, we have 27 endemic species of mammals, but total 286, birds 700, reptiles 268, marine fishes 4,000 species, okay, invertebrate 150,000 species, flowering plants 15,000 species. So we have a lot of plants and invertebrates. Okay, palms already we have like 195 in Peninsula. Okay, in Sarawak 213. So you can see that there's a lot of species even in this small land. So here are Malaysian species which are exotic, mean that it is only found. Okay, it's unique to Malaysia, but I think it's also found in Indonesia, it's also found in Thailand. Okay, so we have orangutan, and then this one, the jungle man we call it. Tapi they are like pigs, but they have like white and black stripes. Binturong is this one. It is also called the bear cat. Sambar deer, you have the moss deer or kancil. So moss deer, the name itself can give you picture in your mind. They are very small deer, which is as big as a mouse. Okay. Rafflesia flower, Irrawaddy dolphin. This one you can see in nowadays. You can see in Sarawak. Okay. Sun bear. This is sun bear. It is smallest bear in the world. It has long tongue. Okay, and it's kind of like kind of thin. Okay. Extinction. Extinction is when a species become they become totally dead, no survivors. Okay. So functional extinction is when only a handful of individuals survive, but they cannot reproduce. Why? Because maybe they are too old, maybe they have poor health, maybe they're too far apart from each other, and maybe a lack of individuals of both sexes. Okay, just like the rhino, the Sumatran rhino. Sumatran rhino in Indonesia, there's only one remaining. Okay, and then in Indonesia, they have one remaining too. But luckily, both countries would have the rhino which are in different genders. Okay, so one is male, one is female. So to save the population, both countries have to work together to make sure that these rhinos mate with each other, so that more baby rhinos can be born, so that the population will be returning. Why? Because we used to have a lot of rhinos in our area, but due to the advent of like traditional medicine, rhinos are hunted for their horns. So the fundamental units of life, the species have been disappearing at 100 or 1,000 times the natural rate of extinction. According to the report by Royal Commission of Dams, 20% of freshwater fish have gone extinct. 30% of all plants endangered. And other studies estimate that 22% or 40% of plants will be extinct by 2050. So you have endangered, then you have extinct. Endangered is a species of population which are at risk of becoming extinct. Maybe because they are so small in number, maybe they are threatened by changed environment, maybe there's a lot of predation. Okay. So IUCN calculated the percentage of endangered species as 40% of all organisms based on sample of species that had been evaluated in 2006. So if you can see in this graph, okay, there's a lot of life forms, organisms, and then suddenly drop. Then goes up again and drop. So how many drops are there? 5. Okay. So in these drops would be the extinction event. So at these drops or extinction events, many species actually died, okay, and no longer can be seen. They are extinct, and for real extinct, okay, and never be seen again. Okay, so if you can see in the age of reptiles, water fauna, and then mammals. Okay, so as you can see, in the end of Permian, okay, there's a huge chasm here. Okay, so scientists are saying that we are actually heading to a 6th extinction event. So now we have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. Maybe there will be a 6th one. Okay, so threatened and not threatened. So birds, 99% of all species threatened, assessed. 13% are threatened. Okay, for mammals, 25% threatened. Amphibians, 41%. Okay. So in the IUCN Red List of Threatened Species, we have red to blue. Okay, extinct to least concern. Least concern means that you already have a lot of these animals. Okay, and these animals are not in danger of extinction. They will survive and probably will survive for a few more 100 years. Near threatened, okay, maybe in this case, if there is uncontrollable pressures, they can be threatened. Okay, and next will be conservation dependent. So mean that their population is in danger. They need to be protected from whatever that is killing them. Vulnerable, okay, vulnerable means that they are really close to being endangered. So in this case, the population is quite low. But there's still hope, right? Endangered is like the panda before China's conservation. Panda is endangered back then, but due to conservation, um, they become not endangered species anymore. Okay, critically endangered. So this one is quite dangerous because the individuals that is in the wild is so low. Okay, and they might be wiped out. Okay. And then you have extinct. So there are two type of extinct. One is extinct in the wild, meaning that the only ones surviving are in the zoos. In the forest, no, they cannot be found anymore. No more. There are no more tigers in the forest. The only tiger that you see is in the cages. Okay. And you have the last one, which is extinct. So if it is totally extinct, meaning that the species is no longer on the earth. They don't exist anymore. The causes of extinction first will be the habitat destruction and fragmentation. Okay, so habitat loss is one of the major reasons why. So because they live in a habitat, and if there is no habitat, they would also perish due to no food, no shelter, no no mates, okay, no hunting grounds. Okay, and so rainforests usually they are the main habitats of tropical animals, and there's a lot of parties trying to claim the rainforests. Okay, so some would like to get some logs from the forest. Some of them would like to get some animals that live in the forest. Some would try to turn the forest into like a construction area, okay, to to develop it into something. Okay, some economists they want to clear the forest, then replace it with cash crop plantation. Okay, like rubber or palm oil. Wildlife trade. So in this case, animals are sold for what? They are sold for food, they are sold for pets, they are sold for bush meat. Some people they are really weird, they don't want to eat the exotic animals. Their body parts, and also biomedical research. Overexploitation or catching of non-target species can cause unintended extinction. Okay. Okay. So the thing is, due to the demand, the hunting actually becomes higher and higher. Okay, because humans want it, and then there's money in it. Then poachers would go and hunt. Okay, because they know that this will fetch them a lot of money. Especially rhino horn, elephant ivory, the tiger products, they are still in demand. Okay, and in Vietnam, there's a recent myth saying that rhino horn can cure cancer. So it actually causes the rhinos in South Africa to be hunted by poachers. Because why? Because in our Asian or Southeast Asian area, rhinos are very hard to be found nowadays. So the only place where they are still alive will be in the reserves in Africa. So yeah, the demand is so high that it pushed the price of rhino to the price of nearly expensive as gold. Okay, so there are certain places in the world where wildlife trade is particularly threatening, and strict punishments will be made. For example, China's international borders. Okay, bordering with Russia, bordering with North Korea, okay, bordering with Thailand. Some market in Mexico also is like that. Parts of the Caribbean, Southeast Asia, Indonesia, and New Guinea. Okay, there's a lot of illegal animal trade. Okay, so now we move to something else: invasive species. So in this case, we as humans, we somehow introduce by mistake a species that can threaten the local areas. Local species. Okay, the local species will be gone because the thing that we introduce overpopulate. Okay, so you have species which populate an area which they are not native. Okay, and the impacts can be really bad. It is insidious, immense, and irreversible. And it will damage not just the native species but also the environment in a global scale, and also the loss and degradation of habitats, because the habitat will change to accommodate these new invasive species. Okay. So the thing is, invasive species can also cause extinction, not just humans, but these new animals that live there. The newcomers, they will eat all the locals, or outcompete or outbreed all of the locals. Okay. So for example, mongoose in the Hawaiian Island. So you know that what are mongoose? Mongoose are these long weasel-like things. These animals, they look like weasel. They're long. They would eat rats. Okay. So the thing is, they are brought into the fields of Hawaii in mid 19th century to control the rat population in the sugarcane fields, because rats like to eat the sugarcane. So when they put mongoose into the island, they thought that mongoose will kill all of the rats. Okay, but the thing is, mongoose population actually multiply, and they don't even eat the mice or the rat. Okay, so instead they hunted the birds and also snakes. No, mongoose can kill snakes. Right? So what happens that there's many birds that became extinct. Same goes with snakes. Many snakes actually are eradicated because of mongoose. Okay. Next will be feral or stray cats. So this one is in New Zealand and in Australia. Right. Sailors come to the island and then they bring they bring cats, right? And cats are really good hunters. Okay, although you can see that cats are small, but they still have the feral animal instinct. So if they see something they can hunt it like a tiger. Okay, so for example, is the Kerguelen Islands in Southern Ocean. Is where cats kill 1.2 million nesting seabirds annually. So seabirds, where do they make their own nest? They make their nest on the sand, on the ground. Okay, and they have never seen a cat before. Okay, so mean that they are defenseless against cat. When cats come and try to eat them, they will not run. Okay, they don't have defense against them. They are not devolving with the terrestrial predators, so they get eaten instead. Okay, so many of the species of birds have become extinct. For example, 10 petrel species in 20th century alone. Okay, in Malaysia, crows, if you want to know, they are not actually Malaysian native. Okay, the crows actually come from Sri Lanka, and they're carried by this English plantation owner called Edward Valentine John Carey. So this man, he is the person whose Pulau Carey is named after. So it is his island. Pulau Carey, it belongs to John Carey. Okay, so John Carey, he brought the crows from Sri Lanka or Ceylon to control the worm infestation on his coffee plantation. Okay, so what happens that he released all of these crows, but the crow didn't eat the worm. So they found out that in the new area, there is a lot of other food sources. Okay, and they will ignore the worm. So what they do, they eat garbage, they eat the food that people eat, they steal food from houses. Okay, so between 1990 to 2000, Shah Alam Council tried to eradicate them, but they became too smart for the traps. Because crows are one of the smartest birds. Okay, shotgunny crows also didn't work because they learn. Okay, they can fly away, and for shotgun it is using pellet, so the pellet will spread, and at a certain distance it will not be effective. Okay, so you can see here, here is part of the newspaper cuttings. Okay, Sultan Selangor starts anti-crow drive in Klang. Okay, so he actually sponsored a contest. His Majesty sponsored a contest to kill a lot of crows in the contest. So we can see here, they steal eggs, chicken, meat, fish, and almost anything edible. The Sultan says they have even taken things from a frying pan. Okay. And His Majesty also says, I saw with my own eyes 6 or 7 crows swooping down like jets to attack a chicken at my golf course. Okay, I'm afraid that a crows might one day attack babies in their prams, which has happened in America. Okay, right. So there are 3 main factors. You have the species introduction, that can cause the extinction. And then 36% will be habitat destruction, and then the other two will be hunting and other factors. So in Malaysia, what are the endangered species? So we have hornbill. Okay, the thing is hornbills used to be a lot in the Peninsula Malaysia. Okay, now right now you know that. Okay, if somebody say hornbill, you think of Sarawak, because Sarawak uses the bird as the logo, or like the spokesperson of that state. Sabah, hornbill. But the thing is, in Peninsula Malaysia, there used to be a lot of hornbills. It's just that they became extinct. They became extinct due to overhunting. Because usually for hornbills, they like to nest near the ground, and the hornbills in Peninsula Malaysia is much more diverse than Sarawak Sabah hornbill. There's many more types. It's just that due to hunting, they all became extinct. Malayan tiger also, you have seen during the pandemic, some of them they came out. Okay, because there's no human, they came out of the forest, and you usually see that they are all thin. Okay, they have no food. Okay, because the forests have all been cut down. They have no food anymore. And somebody from the government, I think they say that if you cut down the forest, there'll be more food for the tiger. So I don't know what kind of backwards science that they use, but if you cut down the forest, no more food for the tiger, because they have no hunting grounds. Okay, and then leopard, or colored leopard, this one I haven't seen them. At least I've seen them in the zoo. I've seen them in the zoo, and also somebody has them as a pet. But for leopard, really hard to find nowadays. Okay, wildcat. Malaysia also have wildcat, not just a regular cat. You have golden cat, marble cat, flat-headed cat. Okay, so these cats are usually kind of bigger than the cat in your house, and they usually live on trees, and they are quite feral. Okay. Next would be the horseshoe bat and the black shrew, sero, mutton goat. So this one is what's called kambing gurun. Okay, they like to stand near ledges in the near the mountains. Then sirenia or dugong. Okay, dugong I think have been seen once or twice in Malaysia. Most of them they got stranded on the beach, and then they die in the beach. Okay, and lastly, leatherback turtle. So leatherback turtle, I think in certain places in Terengganu, they are no longer appearing. They no longer nest in Terengganu anymore. Other species are still there, and the only one that you can see in Terengganu will be in the shelter, in the turtle shelter. There might be a lot of the turtles, but in the wild, probably you cannot see them anymore. So the Malaysian rhinoceros hornbill, or Buceros rhinoceros, they can live up to 90 years. They are the chief of all birds, and also they are actually something like very mystical to the local populace. So because they are so mythical, a lot of the witch doctors would love hunting one and using their head for the mystical powers. Okay, so this is called the Sero goat. It is the goat that can climb mountain. It is, if you want to compare, regular goats don't have this hair on the back, but they have. Okay, most of them are caught in Belum and Temenggung forest, and usually caught for meat and also mystic powers. The shamans, they use the skull. Okay, there's a 2012 survey in Selangor and Johor, Pahang, Perak, and Melaka. Some of the restaurants actually serve them as low as 30 ringgit per plate. You can eat it with rice. Okay, the sero meat. But this animal is actually endangered. How can they get the sero? Okay, this one is a mouse deer. Okay, lesser mouse deer or Tragulus kancil. It is the smallest hoof animal. The motor size is about 45 cm and 2 kg. So yeah, they are very small. They are like mouse but with long legs, and they are usually defenseless. They just run, or they just stay in place. So they are no match for feral dogs. Okay, usually people who want to they don't like their dogs anymore. So what they do, they drive all the way to the forest, and then they open the door, they shoo the dog out, and then they just drive away. So the dog is left to fend for itself in the forest, in the jungle. So yeah, usually dogs will survive because dogs have this survival instinct and also the killer instinct in them, the beast. So dogs are able to hunt anything that is in the forest. Unfortunately, that also includes the mouse deer. Yeah, so these mouse deer would be no match against the dogs. Okay. So yeah, this also is a very popular animal in Malay fairy tales. So if you look for sang kancil and something, there will be a storybook of it, okay, and some videos of it. Okay, usually this in this fairy tale, the sang kancil or the mouse deer would be the smart animal. Okay, they are the smart animals, and they would trick a lot of animals that try to eat him. Okay, sang kancil would trick the crocodiles, trick the tiger, trick the dragon. Okay, and then usually they so that they're able to survive. Okay, so Malaysian marine turtles, we have 4 main species: leatherback, green, hawksbill, and olive ridley. So local culture know them as they can live very long, longevity. Leatherback turtle right now in Terengganu, like I said, can no longer be seen. Okay, next areas are lost because why? Because the government of Terengganu, one time they wanted to make they say that they think that, okay, we want to make it a hub for water sports. So what is the water sport? Is yachting. Okay, the boat race, the yacht. Okay, so the whole beach was changed into like a dock for boats and also for yachts. Okay, so due to that project, okay, a lot of the beaches have been sacrificed, and it means that the turtles have now lost a lot of their nesting area. Bigger nesting area used to be Rantau Abang, and I remember that back in the day, back when I was still a kid, it is a very popular place to see turtles. Okay, you can just go there, and then at midnight, you just have to stay silent. Okay, no torchlight. You stay behind bushes, and then you see the turtles swimming to the beach, slowly crawling, and then they lay the eggs, and then they go away. So at that point, no lights, no sound. Okay, because if the turtles know that there's somebody, it's like a human, they will go back to the sea. Okay, so female turtle would lay hundreds of eggs each nesting season, but few young would survive the first year. Crab, monitor lizard, and birds eat the eggs or prey on hatchlings, estimate their way out of the sea. Because when baby turtles they're born, they're so small, and because they're so small, they are so vulnerable. Anything can just come and eat them. But luckily, there are thousands of turtles. So some of them might be eaten, but there are a few that could run away because predators are like few in number. Okay? So the others can just swim to safety. Okay. In the shallows, many of them are taken by fish. Big fishes eat the turtles. So not just lost habitats are threatening them, but also people who collect the eggs. Sometimes if you go to Pasar Malam in Terengganu, you can see turtle eggs being sold, telur penyu. And yeah, my friend who lives in KT, Kuala Terengganu, he said that he actually tastes one, and it doesn't taste good. Because it is not like a chicken egg. Chicken eggs, chickens are birds, right? The eggs are delicious. Okay, even quail eggs are delicious. But if you get an egg from a reptile, it will not taste good. Okay, so yeah, my friend said it's so bad. Don't eat it. Don't even buy it. Why do people even sell it? Okay. Fishery related mortality. Okay, in this case, fishermen, when they want to catch fish, when the boat will just, the boat will cut through the sea very fast. Sometimes they can be hit by boat. Sometimes they can be caught by the propeller of the boat, killing them. Some of them will be caught in the nets of the fishermen, and the fishermen would just take them back home and not release them. Okay, and sometimes you know, people actually carry them back home. Okay, and lastly, pollution and coastal development. So with humans living near the sea, it's all bright and all noisy with human activity. They don't want to nest there anymore. So how to prevent extinction? So first of all, you have to spread awareness, make a blog, website. Maybe if you have money, send donation funds to the foundations for protection of animals, and then produce less pollution. Welcome product that use endangered species as raw material. Share your concern about animal extinction with public through letters to the editor of newspaper. And also, if you know about an NGO like WWF or the MyCat is the Malaysian Tiger NGO, join them and as a volunteer, and you can help them prevent extinction. And if you have pets, you must control them if they are in a sensitive area, because you really don't want to trust your cat or dog, because although they are very tame to you, they still have the beast inside of them, just waiting to be released. So if you let them go into a sensitive area with a lot of endangered species, they will turn on their beast mode, and then they will hunt and kill them. Okay, so you must control your pets. So that's all for the chapter 7, endangered species. So that's the end of our chapter 7, and I hope we can do tutorial, and we'll see you again in chapter 8.